Good afternoon and welcome back once again. My name is John. I'm off in Car Garage. I'm located in Abington, Massachusetts, and that's about 30 minutes south of Boston. You know, it sounds like a broken record every time someone comes into my shop, or many times, I won't say every time, but many times someone comes into my shop or gives me a call looking for a specific vehicle. It's a truck. I want a truck. Can you find me a truck? I want an antique truck. Do you have any trucks? And for me, the answer is always the same, or has been up until recently, and that's no. Vintage trucks are hard to find, that are nicely sorted, affordable to sell, don't need a lot of work. And so for that reason, I just don't see many of them. Not many of them come across our threshold here at Orphan Car Garage until recently. About 2.5 weeks ago, we profiled this truck's younger brother on YouTube. The 1977 C10 by Chevrolet. It was a short bed, square body truck. That truck lasted, I think, about 48 hours before it was sold. We'll see if its older brother here, this 1966 C10, can break that record of 48 hours. I suspect it might. The C trucks and the K trucks were introduced by Chevrolet and GMC for the 1960 model year, and they lasted that first generation until 1966. And here we have a last year, first gen, 1966 version. And you'll notice right away it has the desirable and super cool Stepside box there on the back. This truck was restored, I'm going to say probably about 10 years ago, to a very high standard. Very, very expensive, nicely done restoration. The truck was then painted red over its original orange. There's one place on this truck I was able to discover its original paint color, and I'll show you that when we open the hood. Original color of this truck appears to have been Omaha orange, but now it's red. Very striking red and very nicely done red. I'm going to call this paint job a 9 out of 10. Everything on this truck's been attended to. I'm assuming a lot of this sheet metal is brand new. The cab corners on these trucks are very common to have issues. None. Very, very nice truck. Very turnkey also. You notice right away while I'm here and I'm thinking of it, it's got these slotted American racing type wheels with the white lettered tires. Personally, I'm not a fan of these, and if it was my truck, I'd probably bring this truck back to complete stock appearance with the painted steel wheels and the little poverty caps or dog dish caps with the Chevy bow tie. I think that would make this truck stand out a little bit more than these old school slotted mags, but that's completely up to you, and it's an easy swap. If you own a business, this is a great truck to letter up and turn heads with. During its restoration, it's very apparent to me that all the trim, gingerbread on this truck, the jewelry, as we may say, has been replaced with correct reproductions. That grill, that chrome grill, obviously not original, but a very nice reproduction. Same with those painted bumpers, which would have been correct for this truck in 1966. As we go around to the back, we'll show you the very same result. The truck does have backup lights, which is kind of a nice feature. Most of these trucks were very basic. They were meant to be basic, and this truck is no exception. Nice rear bumper there, the painted white. Beautiful tailgate. You're going to be very hard pressed to find any rust on this truck whatsoever, although I will show you a little divot over here on the right side, bedside. A little bit of an oops. Looks like that got scraped after the restoration and then wasn't attended to right away as it should have been. So the paint is peeled and there's a very light scale. Still very smooth, but that's bare metal right there. You're going to want to attend to that fairly quickly, but it's really not bad. Anybody with any kind of skill could probably make short work of that. But I wanted to point that out to you. Things like this have made the truck very affordable for us to sell. Not terrible. Excuse me. Again, the cab corners are in very nice shape. The bottom of the doors, I'll open the door while I'm here. Appears to be an original door. Nothing. You won't find any rust on this truck. I mean, even those plugs look new. They could be new doors. I don't know. The rocker panels, the sills, everything in this truck is clean. I'll show you the interior from the other side. A little bit of a paint run here, not a paint run, but the water dripped. This truck was left outside for a period of time, unfortunately, after its restoration at some point, and a constant drip of water off this hood down the fender. That will probably clean up or at least get faded out with some professional buffing. But I wanted to show you that as well. Maybe take care of that at the same time you take care of that quarter panel. We're gonna go to the bed. I'm gonna show you what happens when you leave a truck outside. Unfortunately, there's been some delamination of the restored wood in the bed floor of this truck. You'll see that the bed overall is in fantastic condition, not even a scratch. So since its restoration, it's never really been used as a truck. The inside of the tailgate, beautiful. But unfortunately, the polyurethane of this wood has delaminated, and the wood now needs to be refinished. You can see that the wood at one time was already refinished, but sadly, an owner left this truck. Excuse me, dealing with some allergies here in the Northeast. It's springtime and it's pollen season. Unfortunately, someone left this truck outside, exposed to the elements, so now that wood needs to be refinished once again. If you look at the undercarriage of this truck, it's impeccable. You could eat off the frame rails, and no difference. The same can be said for the bottom of the wood of this bed. I have pictures of the bottom side of this bed with the wood showing, and it's in beautiful, beautifully restored condition. The wood from underneath looks better than the wood up top. Sadly, again, the truck was left outside for a period of time after its restoration. All this stuff has been taken into consideration. It's going to make the truck very affordable. Easy projects for someone, if you so desired, to correct. Driver's door, just like the passenger door. Just beautiful condition, no rust under there at all. Again, your rocker panels and pillars. The hinge pillar. The VIN plate is up here, painted over, but there's your VIN plate as the factory would have installed it. Now, the interior of this truck is very original and lends to the odometer, which I'm going to get to in a second. This, I believe, is the original vinyl covering, the original seat. It's sort of a textured vinyl in light gray, a little discolored with time. I cleaned it as best I could. Still a little bit of discoloration there. I'm believing that's all original. The gas tank is back there. Can you imagine them doing that today? The only wear I can find on the front seat is right here on the very left side edge where the driver would get in and out. There's a hole there in the cover showing the original foam, and then some minor wear there along the side. I believe that's an original seat cover. Nice door panels. No headliner needed in a truck, back then anyway. Nice reproduction carpet, probably the only thing that has been replaced in here. And maybe this truck would have had a vinyl floor covering when it was new. You guys would probably know better than I. Very sparse in here. This is how trucks were. Big glove box door. You had an ashtray. And of course, a lighter. Everybody got a lighter. You may not have gotten a radio. The original owner of this truck apparently didn't order the radio. That appears to be a factory blockout plate where the radio would go, should you have ordered one. And this is probably where AC vents would have been. This is an air to allow cowl air into the passenger compartment, which is your, I guess, economy air conditioning. If this truck had factory air, there'd probably be a vent there. Obviously, the truck does not have air conditioning. It doesn't even have a radio. There is an antenna out there, so I don't know why. There may have been a stereo at one point bolted underneath that has since been removed, but this definitely appears factory. Very sparse but usable cluster. Generator light, oil light, fuel gauge, temperature. You'll notice the odometer, 64,920. Our Massachusetts title backs that up as being actual. I believe it is actual. I do believe that's actual mileage. We don't have documentation back to day one to prove it. Low mileage on a vintage vehicle is very hard to prove. You kind of go by condition. And I have every reason to believe that our title is correct when it says the actual mileage is 64,000. So there's that. The truck has a 3-speed manual transmission that has no sloppiness in the gear shift lever whatsoever. Clutch is in fantastic condition and performs flawlessly. I believe all the bushings and linkage in this have been reworked. Smooth as glass. You've got your lighter, your ignition switch, your choke. It has a manual choke, which honestly I haven't had to use. Truck starts up and runs pretty good. She's a little cold-blooded, but after a couple of minutes, settles right down. I really haven't needed to use the choke, manual choke lever at all, but it's there. 2-speed wipers with washer, which I believe was an option on this truck. And of course, your wiper switch. It all works. Start it up for you. Make sure she's in neutral. There we go. E-brake on. Really nice glass. All the glass in the truck is in really good condition. Roof. As we go around the back, she's running. You'll notice no strange sounds, no smoke. You can probably tell already what's under the hood. We'll get to that now. Bear with me as I try to do this with one hand. Sometimes it's a challenge. There we go. Voila. High torque 250. That's about as good as it got for a straight six back in 1966. I'm assuming most of these trucks were equipped this way when they were new, being as utilitarian as they were and meant to be. But as you can see, a very, very basic engine bay. Everything at your fingertips. We do have a new we do have a new fan motor on order. The heater fan's not currently working. We have it on order, and that will be replaced before the truck goes to its next owner. No power steering and a single master brake system with no power boost. That could be changed out fairly easily. There are kits available to change that single master cylinder to a dual master cylinder with a power brake booster. Not a bad idea, unless you want to keep it completely stock. While we're at it, and I'm talking about the original color, you can see it right here on the cowl panel. See that? That appears to be what they called Omaha orange. And I'm going to assume that's the original color of this truck. Just a little bit of peeling there on the chassis paint on the cowl panel. But look at this truck overall. Look at everything, how clean everything is. No stone was unturned, really, when they did this truck over. And no expense spared, much more than we're asking. A recent tune-up was performed on this truck. We did a coolant flush on the truck. Some minor carburetor adjustments. It's very, very turnkey and ready to go. Very, very difficult to find one of these trucks, period. Never mind one that's been this well sorted, that this much money has been invested into. Orphan Car Garage pricing on this 1966 C10, $23,900. $23,900 for this turnkey Stepside pickup truck from 1966. Very, very desirable truck. Sure to go up in value. Everybody wants a truck now. Trucks were basic back then. Trucks were built and sold to be used and worked, which they were. So many got thrown away. So many that are still around need major restoration. This truck needs none of that. Just a few things, some bits that I mentioned as we went along that you may want to tinker with, but doesn't hinder the way the truck drives or runs right out of the gate. Get to it when you get to it. Modify the truck, letter it for your business, use it as a tax write-off, whatever that may be. $23,900 for this 1966 C10. www.orphancargarage.com. Check out my gallery of photos there on my website. Of course, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Give me a phone call, 508-954-8090. Its younger brother, the 1977 K10, lasted 48 hours. How long do you think this one will last? Take care until the next one.